John, Jean, Peter, Paul, and Ace put makeup on their face and crank it up all the way to tens when we join in harmony. Strange ways out of sea, rock soldiers, we are calling thee. So if you want the best, we're better than the rest, that's for sure. Do not be doubtful, shout it out loud. We're the Elders Council.
Hey, welcome to the Elders Council, a place for classy, intellectual Kiss fans. And let me write to him. No sound. Come on.
It's like we can't hear him and he can't hear us.
Tony knows everybody from the Kiss family.
I think he just needs to turn his microphone on because I can see like his microphone with the red arrow through.
How about that?
Oh,
yeah, all right, yeah.
There we go.
Here's a bag of Kiss pics.
Oh, damn! Come on, man. No one likes to show off.
Here's some confetti from a show. Here's some other confetti.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Here's some piece from a broken guitar.
Super cool.
Man, you were that close? That's awesome. What show was it?
That was that was the show where it was Dynasty basically at the Garden.
Oh,
Whoa.
So Tony, you have some serious history with Kiss. Like what exactly is? How did you? What's your deal, bro?
Deal is my family was into music and took me to shows and let me go to shows early, and I was playing music early. So I saw that show at the Academy of Music the first time they had the Kiss lighted sign.
Wow.
Okay? And so I've been seeing the band before they even had the first album.
Oh.
And,
So,
and you like know everybody.
I know a lot of people, yeah. I know you, Andy. Who else is on this? Who else is in this?
Introduce them. We have a guest on from all the way from the United Kingdom. You want to say hello? Introduce yourself.
Introducing him. Yeah, Gary here has been delivering the mail. And
right on.
You see the article? He's been delivering the mail in the Kiss costume.
Hey, Gary, that's awesome, man. Really cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. Been good fun.
And I
That's
think
great.
And you know Pete Macy, and with the mustache there is Ben.
What's
Right
up?
What's up, Tony?
Hello, everybody. Okay, it took me a minute to get it together, but I'm glad to join you.
Hell yeah! Thanks for joining.
Yeah,
Yo,
it's fun.
So I don't even know where to begin with you, Tony, because you just like you're like this, and is the word enigma or something like?
All right.
We'll start here. You know the origins of Ace's home planet, Jendel. You know about Jendel?
Oh, okay, right. So Jendel, are you familiar with My Name Is Eugene? You know that song?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cut in.
So that song, that's Crazy Joe Renda and the Variable Speed Band. Crazy Joe was the guy who found the Jerky Boys, basically.
Oh.
And he's an old friend of Ace and Bob McAdams and Mike Golden and all these guys. And Bob McAdams is the first guy to work for the band. And he's a childhood friend of Ace and Mike Golden. They're all from the Bronx. And they're all guitar players. They love all the same kind of music. They used to go see shows together. They're childhood friends, okay? So one day, Bob McAdams brings home the Village Voice, and he left it at Ace's, and Ace found the ad. So Bobby is the one who brought him to the audition, not his mom.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got in the band, and Bob first met Ace in the Bronx. They didn't know. They thought he was like Asian. They didn't know what he was. Who's that weird kid, you know? And they found out it was Punky. Paul, they call him Paul because his name's Paul Fraley, and they called him Punky was his nickname then. And so Bobby was a guy that was a boxer. He used to hang out with the Ducky Boys gang in the Bronx and all that. and Bobby, you know, they became good friends. Like first they heard that Ace, Paul they called him, was trying to screw someone in a deal for like fireworks or something, but really he was just trying to buy something. So when the first time they met on the street, he was chasing after Ace, you know, like if he would have caught him, he probably would have killed him because he was trying to rip off his friend. So anyway, this goes on, and Bobby and this guy, Eddie Solon. Bobby was the first employee of KISS. He was a sound man, but he wasn't really a sound man. There wasn't really a PA. There was just a couple of knobs on this crappy little thing, you know, they would rent or whatever. And he got Eddie Solon involved. He was a serious sound man at the time. And they had a studio called Backstreet Studios. All right. And a lot of people rehearsed and recorded there, and Ace rehearsed there, and all kinds of people, John Regan, all these people have been there. And so then Eddie Solon started working for KISS. Well, their friend, Joe Renda, so Bobby and Mike Golden, these guys had a band called Juice, and the bass player's name was Eugene. My name is Eugene. It's not Gene Simmons. Okay. Yeah. And so that Gene, his father was always talking all this shit about, oh yeah, I'm from outer space, man. I'm from Jendel. And like a lot of shtick that Ace adopted as his own was taken from my name is Eugene, Gene's father.
Oh.
Okay, so that's where that comes from. It just happened that Paul Ace was a spaced out guy, you know, likes to get high or whatever, party, and like everybody did in that day. And so he adopted that with his spaceman persona. They all brought that in, and you know, Sean Delaney and these guys were trying to refine their characters. And when they first saw KISS at Hotel Diplomat, they had some kind of makeup on, but they didn't have the whole makeup on. If you ever look at photos from Lydia or whoever, right? And Bobby was at that show. Bobby was at all them shows. He was a sound man. He was there and he was the first guy to professionally work for them. You know, Peter's brother, Joey Criscola, worked for the band as, you know, not a roadie, but whatever. They were all humping gear except for Peter, and Ace never carried his amp ever. Somebody always had to do it.
Why should he? Why should he?
Well, hey, man, whatever. But Chuck Berry carried it. Chuck Berry, I played with Chuck Berry once, and he always carried his own guitar. He never had anybody. But that's different. And so
you ever heard
that's the origin of Jendel.
Yeah.
It was Eugene's father. So it's kind of demystified, but he used it in a cool way. And once Sean and these other people, Bill Coyne and everyone got involved with KISS, and they refined the character makeup, and they, you know, Sean dyed all their hair black, and they tried to unify them like the Beatles or the Raspberries and all these bands that they loved. And they said have the character, so that's where they started using Jendel, and that's where it came from.
So Jendel's not a real planet.
Well, I'm not saying it is.
Okay, no.
I'm saying that Gene's father is Eugene's
You're saying Ace
father
isn't really from Jendel, but that guy is.
Gene's father is just from there, yeah. But Ace is an otherworldly character, no doubt. If you ever met him or know anything about him, he is the character, and he's spaced out. But now he's been really good. Like the last time I saw him, we went to a listening party with me and Lydia Chris, and we went to see Ace do a listening party for his most recent album. Had the Eddie Money cover and all that, and the Origins one, second Origins, and he was really, really sharp. And I'm like, who is this guy? I've never seen him in my whole life ever be like that. Like even when I was a little kid, but I was a kid seeing them. And to be honest, like love Alice Cooper. I know those guys. I knew Mark Bolan as a kid. I'm still friends with his family. And it was really weird when all of a sudden T-Rex was on Casablanca, you know, and all of it. So anyway, I have a whole involvement with all the T-Rex people. But KISS to me was like, they went and saw Alice Cooper at the Garden and said, let's be 4 Alice Coopers, because they wanted to kind of be a New York Dolls. Like everybody wanted to be New York Dolls.
Yeah.
And I have involvement with those guys, and I knew those guys and Jerry Nolan and Johnny Thunders, and we played with Sylvain. We were his backing band before he went back in the Dolls, and the band I was in, She Wolves, then we opened for them at Irving Plaza and at CBGB's when they released their reunion album, and we rented their gear they used on that first tour because they didn't have gear. So anyway, the Dolls was the big shit here, but the Dolls was a very New York thing. They did one tour where they just toured all 5 boroughs, a thing later copied by a fan of theirs, David Bowie. So and there's songs by Bowie about New York Dolls, like Watch That Man. Couple that, he says Billy Doll. This Billy Doll is the guy who died in England, the first drummer. So the New York Dolls opened for the Faces at Wembley before they even had a record deal. And the drummer died in England, as you may or may not know, OD'd. And then
Jerry Nolan, friend of Peter Chris's.
Friend
of Peter Chris.
And then Jerry Nolan got in the band, childhood friend of Peter Chris, best man at his wedding, played at his wedding. If you look in Lydia's book, Sealed with a Kiss, you can see, Jerry and Buddy Bowser at their wedding.
What I want to know about is Big John Hart. You're good buddies with Big John Hart, Kiss Security, head of Kiss Security. You're gonna be. I want you to. Can you be like our new casting director? You know everybody.
I can get some people to probably chime in. There's a lot of people are at home right now, so they might be willing to talk when maybe before they're too busy. So it might be a good time.
We got the Kiss mailman.
Yeah, some people are technology challenged, and I'm pretty new to this Zoom thing. I've only used it really for. We watched the Friends Memorial, which was kind of bad, but at least we did it. And so anyway, but I know a lot of these people. I know Picty, who was a costume designer. Bobby's a very good friend of mine. I just did a recording with Bobby. We were on the Kiss Room recently, and Mike Golden, who was old friend of Ace. These guys were childhood friends from the Bronx. Like I said, they grew up together. They call him Paul, and they're still friends with him. And Mike Golden is still really very close with Ace. And but anyway, the most recent time we saw him, he was really together and sharp. And when he was young, when Kiss first came out, he was, as you know, very thin, very energetic guy, and he used to do those crazy back bends and stuff. And it was really like an exciting performer. And he just looks cool when he's playing. He is cool. He plays great. He's the whole rock and roll deal. And they, so these guys would go and see bands they love, like The Who and Hendrix and Led Zeppelin, and they wanted to combine that with more theatrical, and they wanted to be like the Dolls, but they just look silly in that outfit. Except a couple of them maybe could do. They're just too big. The New York Dolls are little skinny guys.
Peter looked silly in his Dolls.
Yeah, it just looked kind of silly, and
No. Peter looked silly in his first Kiss outfit when he'd wear the little shorts over his tights. Puffy paint.
Another thing is yeah, but as you know, or maybe don't know, I helped write a book called New York Rock with Stephen Blush, and there's a whole section about Kiss, when Kiss happened, in glitter and glam, and there was a lot of bands around at the time. The Brats, the Fast with Paul Zone, and the Fast would wear different outfits every time, and a couple times they wore very similar stuff, what you would think like Kiss makeup, wore like clubs around his eyes, or always theatrical, but they didn't stay with that. They always kept changing. And there was other bands like Harlots of 42nd Street that had a fire eater. And my friend, Mike Quashie, was a fire eater and limbo dancer who performed on stage with Led Zeppelin. And there was the Rags that played Flying Bees, and there was
I just got the Rags.
Yeah, the Harlots of 42nd Street. It was kind of like a knockoff Dolls thing, but these guys were all part of the New York scene, but they didn't have the support system behind them to get famous. But Kiss took a little idea from each. They took, even bands that would open for them, like Luger and Street Punk with John Montgomery. Like Gene had that song Master of Flash on his box set on the Vault. He bought from John Montgomery. He never even released the song until the Vault. But so the Kiss took from every cool band and made it what they would want to see. And finally, like Gene was working one night and they were getting their makeup together, the ideas of the show and makeup together. And they went to see Alice Cooper. Gene didn't go, but they were inspired and ran up to the stage. It was $1 Billion Babies tour. at the Garden. I went to that show as well. And these guys ran up to the front like we all did, and we're excited about it. And the whole stage show was based around the songs and theatrical and like, you know, but more of like a morality play on society, where Kiss is just more like having fun and just forget your troubles and just get lost in the moment kind of thing. So I appreciated Kiss, but when they first came out, so you got a picture, this is a New Year's Eve show. There's the Teenage Lust, which had Harold Black from David Peel and Lower East Side, okay? And a bunch of like starlets and like glamorous guys, but not like fantastic music, but just trying to enter, like you're at a party. Like Harold Black had a club that opened in the middle of the night, and all these celebrities would go to it on Fifth Avenue, and the 210 clubs. So it didn't open till 2:10, and nobody used to go out till after midnight. You know, back in those days, it was late night, all night. So, you know, obviously the people doing blow, whatever, to stay up all night, and that was going on. And so the bill was Teenage Lust, the Stooges, and Blue Oyster Cult. And these were all mega bands at the time, like really popular. Teenage Lust being like the newer one, but they were like getting in rock scene in some magazines. They were in rock scene, same as Kiss, like, or Jane County. And, you know, there had been a show with Jane County and the Brats, and Kiss at the bottom of the bill, really. Kiss really opening for Jane County and the Brats, because the Brats had a record store in Queens called Music Box. And they told people like, hey, listen to the Sweet, listen to these cool bands, turn people on to cool music. And Paul went in Music Box and said, you know, to Keith West, like, hey, please, we need a show in Manhattan. So they had Rick Rivets, who helped start the Dolls. They call it Actress, but it wasn't called anything at the time. Rick Rivets was a founding member of the Dolls and the Brats and the Corpse Grinders. He died, sadly, but he was a friend and a guitar player. These guys all like British rock and like T-Rex, Slade, Sweet, Mott the Hoople, all this like glam and cool looking sounding bands. And they made a show at Bleecker Street in the Factory, you know where NoHo Star is, Andy, on Lafayette and Bleecker. That on the 8th floor, there was a show for $1. There was Jane County, the Brats, and Kiss, $1. And
The rest is history.
and history. And that Paul got his guitar stolen at that show. But then, so the next show, that's the first show they did in Manhattan. Then they did all these other, you know, first big show when they really had it together, besides the Diplomat, which was like a hooker hotel. And I played there. There was holes in the floor of that place. They played at the Daisy and Coventry, where all these people played. But the first big Manhattan show was they bought their way onto that New Year's Eve show. Yeah. With, you know, Teenage Lust. It wasn't even on the bill. And they had the sign. Bill surprised them with that sign, the lighted sign, and people were just freaked out by that, because those lights were intense, like burning through your eyes. Like when you look at the sun, like you turn your head, you could still see Kiss. That's what that first time was like. And Gene, I remember Gene threw, Peter had the sticks that he held up and these sparks flew out of it. That didn't last for too long, because one of the roadies ended up almost blowing off his hand with that, you know. And then also Gene had these fireballs. He would like a magic trick, and he would throw like flash paper, but it hit some kid in the front in the face, and it burned his face. And they brought that kid backstage and gave him pictures and stuff, and he was like, oh, I'm so glad like to be at this show. He's like, luckily he was into it, because he could have sued them. And nowadays, forget it. There might not have been any Kiss at the first show, you know, big show.
Something that happened to Paul Stanley, didn't he? He chucked a smashed out guitar out, and someone got their fingers caught in the string. And there was a lawsuit against Paul for that at one point, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's something. This, as you know, I have the strings, right? So what happened is, you know, what happened is he would get these guitars from Epiphone.
He's got the guy's finger.
And he would, right, and so here's the anchor that anchors this into the, you know, the bridge into the body of the guitar. I have the knobs. I put them on a guitar. They're like speed knobs. But he had stacks of these backstage, and they, you know, whoever would have to saw the neck a little bit so he could, just break it easy. Because sometimes it breaks at the headstock easy, but the neck and body don't. It's hard, and the headstocks break when you don't want him to. But he would always break the guitar and throw it into the crowd. And I do have a body in my storage where he broke. I have 2 of them where he broke the body and gave you the guitar, the whole thing, right? But after a while, these strings, when you're fighting, some girl was pulling the rest of this, and the security guard was going, let go. And like, my fingers are caught in it, so I got this part. But he gave the body to that girl. But you would cut your fingers on these strings. So after a while, now he doesn't even do that. He sells it, but he used to now there's no strings on.
He sells
breaks it, and has the pieces, and he hands them. But it was dangerous. But it was dangerous to catch a drumstick. Everybody would jump on your head and try to kill you to get it. And this was like festival eating, and there was no security except to throw you out, really. And so a couple times I caught a drumstick that I still have from back in the day, Destroyer or whatever tour, and I almost got killed to get it. And now you can buy them or whatever. And it was different, and nothing. It was just free to meet them. They wanted to meet people because they were a brand new band, and people kind of thought they were like cliche at the time because glam was like kind of done when they came in. Like Ziggy retired, right? And Alice Cooper went solo after that, pretty much. Like he had Muscle of Love, but he already was all session, and it became less theatrical. That Muscle of Love tour, they were wearing just regular street clothes or sailor suits. They weren't sailor suits. And then you notice Gene wore a sailor suit at the first Kiss show, basically.
Yeah, I've seen that photo.
They loved Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper. Okay, so Sylvain told me a really funny story. He said, when they were early tours with Kiss, or Silverhead, Aerosmith, Kiss, Dolls, were all like in these circuits, like playing little places. They weren't famous yet. They weren't selling records. Dolls never sold any fucking records, but they were like our idols, And he's like, Sylvain, how will I know when I'm famous? And Sylvain said, listen, when someone comes up to you and asks you to sign Alice Cooper's autograph, you've made it. So, because Alice Cooper is the king. He has his own jet. He's the biggest, blah, 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 right? #1 band in the world. At the time was Alice Cooper. So he said Sylvain was in O'Hare Airport, and Paul Stanley comes running up to him. Hey, Sylvain, I just signed my first Alice Cooper autograph. I'm famous. So, you got to put in perspective, like what was popular at the time and all that. And we kind of thought like Kiss was like a rehash, kind of like a heritage show or something at the time, because people were stopping wearing platforms and all that. It did continue on with disco and all that, but glam already kind of happened. Like it was on its way out, I guess you'd say, and then other stuff came in, hard rock and people that didn't dress up and that were boring on stage, came in.
Tony, we gotta have you back because you seem to you're an encyclopedia of with the shit that you were actually around. You were.
I mean, too much to say, but I want to hear about the delivering the mail a little bit.
Well, you're gonna have to. We're gonna put this on YouTube, and you're gonna hear all about it.
Okay, right on. Thank you for having me on, you guys. It's good talking to you, and hope to catch up with you again. Cheers, all.
We definitely want both of you guys back on. And,
definitely. Yeah. I've got a few stories to tell of making Kiss and that, but yeah, definitely gotta get.
I have too many. I have way too many, and I don't want
to. I've heard, and I've been hearing a lot of stuff that you brought a lot of stuff to the table that I've never heard of before, which is super cool, man. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, you guys, I can refer to this stuff, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like a big, crazy, even crazier explanation to people. So at least, also if you watch. My Name is Eugene. Bobby McAdams is in there in drag, and he's also playing pinball. So, and his wife's in there, and a bunch of people are in there.
Wow. A lot of people don't know about My Name is Eugene. We're gonna have to do an entire episode on that to get Crazy Joe on the show. I'm gonna show you one piece of.
I was reading about it on Kiss FAQ last night.
Everybody knows a little bit, but I saw some really cool and important shows to the band, and at the time I was like, "This is cool." It's not like I didn't think it was cool. What's that?
This is my name is. I think it's backward. Is it backwards?
No, it's. I can see it.
Showing forwards.
That's great. That's great. Well, Crazy Joe is down in Florida. I might be able to get a hold of him.
I heard
We're
him.
down in Florida too.
Who's in Florida?
Me and Juan, we're in Miami.
Oh, right on.
You ever come
Okay,
down?
well,
Let's rip it up.
Bobby is in Daytona. Yeah, and Big John is in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I want to meet
Hollywood.
Big John. You think you can get us Big John?
If somebody can get him to hook this up, but I could get you to meet him, yes, but
No.
to do it, I could maybe have to get somebody to help him do it.
Tony,
He would
Why
love
not?
to get along famously.
No, but we'd love to have both of you guys back. We really appreciate you taking your time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is
No
great.
problem. Thanks for
Awesome.
asking me, and let me know. And if you have some certain question, maybe I could answer, maybe not. But I probably know
We'll be
somebody. who knows
prepared.
about it.
And
No,
Gary,
everything.
Gary, keep bringing. Wait, here's Juan back.
Hey Juan. All right, nice seeing everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep those files coming with the mail, and we look forward to having you guys back soon.
100%.
I want Gene Simmons to deliver my mail. Right on. Goodbye, everybody.
All right, goodbye, everybody. See you next time.